All right, we'll call to order the January 27, 2022 Board of Zoning Appeals meeting. Good evening. Welcome to the City of Dublin Board of Zoning Appeals. You can join the meeting in person at 555 Perimeter Drive and also access the meeting via a live stream on the city's website. We welcome public participation, including public comments on cases. Lori, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Deschler?
Here.
Mr. Clower?
Here.
Ms. Miller?
Here.
Let's move to the acceptance of documents and approval of meeting minutes from the November 28, 2021 meeting. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
Ms. Miller?
I must abstain. I did not attend that meeting.
Mr. Deschler?
Yes.
Mr. Clower?
Yes.
Our first case this evening, the Hopkins residence at 9376 Nicholson Way, that's case number 21-186AA. Under an administrative appeal, it's my understanding the Hopkins family would like to postpone. Is that fair? And if you could introduce yourself.
Thomas McCash, 0059079, I'm an attorney for the Hopkins. And yes, we would like to table this. We believe that getting a full BZA, hopefully a full BZA to be able to hear some of the issues and stuff would provide good direction to not only the Hopkins, but also to city staff.
Okay, that's understood. We appreciate it. Do we have a motion to postpone the Hopkins case? That's case 21-186AA.
I'll move to postpone.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Deschler?
Yes.
Mr. Clower?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
Thank you, appreciate it. And it's also my understanding the case 2 residents at 7605 Bellar Avenue, that's case number 21-143V, with regard to a non-use area variance that is also postponed. That was, we were informed of that prior to the meeting.
That's correct.
Okay. Just to confirm, we do not need to have a motion because that was done prior, or should we move to have a motion anyway?
No motion necessary.
Thank you, Tammy. And then, let's see, on to communications. I think what we're going to do, since not everybody's here, we'll probably kick that to our next meeting to ensure that there's support for the proposed meeting dates for the remainder of the 2022 year. But it's my understanding the city, we're going to have some additional administrative discussion today.
That's true. And to the calendar, we have approved dates to February, so we're secure for the next meeting. What I did want to bring to the attention of the board is part of our discussions in the last probably year and a half have been multiple cases that have dealt with rear yard setbacks and what we could do to address that more proactively. Zach was kind enough to present at the last meeting in November an example of how we're dealing with developers at the forefront of the development process to identify rear yard space and how we can clearly identify that for property owners. We've taken that a step further, and we're introducing a proposal to review what we're calling residential design standards, and that's not just rear yard setbacks, but it's side yard setbacks, front yard setbacks, lot coverage, and the totality of the development standards that we deal with for residential structures. And so as a board that sees these issues on kind of the tail end of the development process, we wanted to plant the seed that that's something that we're looking into as a staff and secure your comments for what you think might be appropriate ways to deal with these types of issues. We're currently discussing different proposals, again, highlighting the rear yard setback because that's commonly something that we've been addressing. But we may have individual meetings with the board or collectively, maybe small groups of the board. But I just wanted to let you know that that's something that the city is addressing. It's a council-supported initiative, so it's highlighted to the highest level that we're engaged in. And so we would love your comments and feedback as we proceed within the next, I would say, 6 months.
I mean, that sounds great. I'm supportive, obviously. Is there anything from an administrative or document review standpoint that we can look at this evening, or is?
We're not quite there yet. So just, again, just letting you know that that's something that we're doing, and letting you know that you'll be participants of that conversation.
I would suggest that the city consider two things, because a common theme in a lot of these cases is that at time of property transfer, when new owners come in, they're not aware somehow of the rules, or they believe everything they're buying in the property has already been approved and is fine. So there should be some mechanism at closing, perhaps, where people get in the stack of stuff you get at closing that says, you know, if you decide you're going to build anything on your structure that you just, or on your property, that, you know, you need to check with City of Dublin on building standards and so on. And then the second thing is, it's clear that there's some HOAs that maybe aren't, HOA turnover happens, and not everybody may be aware that they need to check anything that's being asked to be approved within their neighborhood. People are getting the impression that HOA approval is the official blessing that they need inclusive of the City of Dublin, and that's not the case. So that should be a little bit of outreach or reminder to the HOAs. They may not know. They may need a reminder.
And those are both excellent points. We actually had done an educational video at the tail end of last year where we described that there's a two-tiered process for residential approvals, one with the City of Dublin, which is zoning requirements, and one that perhaps gets into deed restrictions, which is HOA requirements. So it's a cute video, and if you're on our website, please check that out. But again, we're making some educational efforts to try to help people make those decisions. But again, we'll look forward to doing whatever we can to prepare people when they start to make these decisions.
Yeah, the images that Zach showed last week from the developer plan, where it has the clearly demarcated areas of building in the backyard and stuff like that, if it was possible to have those type of images available on the handover of the property. So if somebody buys a house, we provide them those images specifically with the legal restrictions from our perspective, and then if there is an additional HOA restriction, I think that would probably be a long-term process type thing, but that's something that I would be looking for.
And one of the challenges that the city faces in these matters is that the city really has no role or involvement in private property transactions. So education, of course, then is going to be the key. In addition to the video that Tammy mentioned, I know that in the past the city has hosted 1 or 2 meetings per year with all HOA presidents invited. So those may be, once they resume or at the next one that's scheduled, that may be an opportunity to hopefully distribute some of those resources to those folks, because invariably when there is a property transfer, the real estate agents involved in the transaction will contact them, and we can ask them to, send city information along with their HOA information.
And just additionally, we have reached out specifically to the real estate community based on their professional associations, and we've done presentations for them as well. We're completely able and willing to do any type of presentations that get that education opportunities provided. We've talked to our building department about even educating the business community, the contracting community about what we require. So again, there are some difficult challenges on both sides of the cases, but we welcome the opportunity to help property owners make the right decisions.
You know, I'm not necessarily certain. We've had a significant amount of issues related to the HOA, deeds and restrictions. A lot of them defer to the city code on some of these areas. So it's a difficult situation, especially if you're going to get a homeowner is going to say, honestly, they're not, technically they're under oath, but it's going to be a difficult situation to try to say that, the builder said this and builder didn't say that, or the homeowner said this, my agent told me this. Because the documents that you're presented at closing, besides this anticipated new subdivision, they're going to show a lot of outlines, right? But they're not going to necessarily show the city's requirement for setbacks and build zones. It's a delicate balance, and hopefully the materials or the brainstorming sessions that are going to occur will hopefully provide some insight, and we'll be able to look future forward in a positive manner on it.
An additional concern, and I was going to say reaching out to the agents as well when you mentioned the educational effort is a great idea. It's also not 100% in their best interest to say to their clients that, oh, you're probably not going to be able to build in your backyard here. So having some sort of the education aspect is great. And then the other side of it is when you're closing, you're being asked to sign hundreds of documents all at the same time. And so the potential for, even if we ask them to provide some sort of document saying here are the exact layouts of your property and where the build lines are, there's a strong chance that even with us presenting that to the homeowner, that would just get lost in the shuffle and they'd forget about it. So, difficult problem.
But that's an interesting comment that at the end of the day, the end user, to Mr. Deschler's point, there's so many components to this that we can't tackle all of them, but the primary source is the property owner themselves because that is the most vested interest. So again, it sounds cliche, but educational opportunities that we could help. We have the resources available in our agency to provide that to people. Just letting them know that that's a resource that's available is kind of the key component. So maybe we've answered our own question.
Yeah, I can't recall specifically, but at closing, are there any documents specific just to the taxing district you're in or for Dublin? Do we know that? I don't recall. I'm not certain.
I mean, there's in your property identification, there's a tax district and a parcel number, and the tax district defers to who you're paying your taxes to. Whether a property owner would know that, I'm not quite
Yeah,
certain.
but you can't really use property tax because there's an issue. People could, that's based on the school district, not necessarily your residents from, I mean, obviously income tax, but not for your property tax. So we'll look forward to the discussion. Do we have anything else? Good to go?
No, but thank you.
Sure. Thad, anything?
I don't have anything.
Okay.
Good to see you all.
Yeah, so same. It's been a while. All right, so if we don't have anything else, our next scheduled meeting is February 24, 2022. If an application is submitted, Zach, do we know beyond the 2 postponements? Let's put those aside. Is there a new application that we may have?
We don't have any active cases in, but we have 2 that are looking to move forward in the future, whether it be February or March.
Okay, terrific. With that understanding, our meeting's adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.